DNA one more time. You know what it is. We back again. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I just need to make a correction from a couple of the last vlogs that we made. One of the last vlogs we made, I said when talking about legalization of marijuana, it's not that the state says it's okay. The federal government doesn't like it. So that's where your mother say you can, your father say you can't.
Right.
Because in order for things to be FDA approved, consumables, they have to be approved by the FDA as a branch of the federal government. So that straightens that out. Now, on to the next subject. Today we're going to discuss something that she saw, brought it to my attention, we both watched it, based on child support and baby mama drama, in a sense. One particular thing that really bothered me was, and I've gone through this. Child support is child support is child support. It's important for, parents to take care of their children, be it the man or the woman. Children should never be used as pawns. They should never be used as leverage. If you and the person that you have this child with or children with come to a point in the relationship where you feel like you can no longer function together or in that relationship, then you have to co-parent for the sake of the child. And you should always keep the child first. You should always keep the child in mind. You shouldn't let personal feelings, you shouldn't get all up in your feelings because you're mad because he's seeing someone else, or you're mad because she's seeing someone else. This particular video, I'm not going to say who it was, but it was a clear-cut case of belligerent ignorance on the part of all parties involved. I would have to say, with the exclusion of the children.
Right.
The guy in the video pulled his phone out and began to videotape because he knows how this woman acts. Her mother was there. There was a whole lot of nonsense that went on that was completely and totally unnecessary. She tried to get him arrested.
Right.
She looked in his car, saw another little kid, started questioning the little kid. Who's your mother? What's your mommy's name? Who's riding in this car seat? And my problem with that, aside from the blatant ignorance, was the fact that everybody involved in this video were all African Americans, number one. The person that put up the video was an African American. And all he did, the guy that posted the video, was talk about how basically he just bashed African American women. You understand? I don't feel that that was the right thing to do. I understand what he was talking about, and clearly I saw it. But I don't feel that it was the right thing for him to do, to just pinpoint all black women.
Right.
Because all black women are not like that. When you're talking about child support, you're talking about women. When you're talking about baby mama drama, you're talking about women.
Right.
That's women of all races. You specifically and particularly pointing them out and bashing them the whole time. You understand? Regardless of how a woman acts in a relationship, out of a relationship, when you got a co-parent, the bottom line, and don't get me wrong, you know, women do tend to abuse the power that they have because the courts do side with the women a lot of times. But we as men have to understand we can't show disdain and hate for these ladies. You understand? We can't hate the ladies that make the babies because then all we teaching our babies is to grow up and hate ladies.
Right.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
We can't do that. As men, we can't do that. Okay? And as men, we all looked at differently. There does seem to be, you know, more weight placed upon us. And this is not something I made up. It's been like this since the beginning of the time.
And the reason it's weighed on you is because you are supposed to be the provider. You're supposed to be there. You're not supposed to make them and leave them, and then start another one, and then make another one, then start another one and make another one. You're supposed to be with that one, and that's the one you decided to be with. That's the one you're supposed to stay with. And I understand things don't work out. You know, y'all come to a mutual agreement that this just ain't working out. That's how it's supposed to be, anyway. The mutual agreement that this is not working out, but we have children, and we have to take care of our children. So we need to come together as parents, friends, or whether we're friends or not, come together as though we are friends so that we can get this together, take care of our kids. That's it. It shouldn't be no, oh, I know who you slept with last night, I want my kids around that woman, or, you know, the crazy stuff that goes on. Keep that to yourself. You decide to sleep with this person. What I told my children, the moment you lay down with somebody, think about, do I want to spend the rest of my life attached to this person? Seriously.
That's a game changer.
Because and that's also, it should also be a birth control. Because you think about it, she fine, I met her at the club, you know, she hot, you don't know this person. All you saw was the outer shell. You don't know what's going on inside. You don't know what kind of family she's got or he's got. Fine don't mean nothing. Actually, fine, I'd run away from fine, to be honest, because I've been
Beauty
fine.
is only skin deep. That is not a cliche. That's real as real can get.
You got beautiful women, but there's some guys that know that woman, be like, man, don't talk, don't touch, don't go nowhere near. She crazy. And you don't like to hear that kind of stuff, and she crazy, but there are some crazy people out there.
Okay.
And they act crazy.
Then don't say crazy. Say holy guano batshit crazy. Because I know a few of those.
Okay. What he said.
Yeah.
As far as women and men coming together to take care of their children, you can't make people stay together. You can't make people want to be together. But the child is still here. This is a product of your getting together. Whether it's been a one night stand or y'all were together forever and you say y'all had kids and y'all don't get along, y'all grew apart. The kid's still there and they don't know what grew apart is. They don't know what one night stand is. They don't care nothing about that. They want to eat. They want their parents to be smiling, so they could be smiling. That they don't care about nothing else but happiness. The moment that you bring them misery, I know you think, oh, I'm not doing nothing to my kids. Yes, you are. They feel more than you think. They know more than you think. And they don't understand what they're feeling, and they don't understand what they're thinking. They just see this, and it becomes a pattern. Because when they grow up, they treat women like dirt. When they grow up, they treat men like dirt. You don't want that to keep going. It's time to stop that kind of stuff. And what I saw in that video, it was passed down from that mama to that mama of those boys, and those were twin boys. Because I was gonna say, well, if he was living long enough to have two kids,
well, it was
that could have been a one night stand with him, and he ended up marrying her.
Yeah.
I guess he wanted to do the right thing. To me, aside from his parking wrong or some of the other stuff that he might have done that people could say, well, that was stupid of him, he still stepped up. He still married her, even if they were married as sweethearts, out of high school, whatever. They got married and they had kids, and he still picks his kids up. He probably still pays child support. Yeah. He probably only gets them on the weekend, which is not fair to me. I was raised by both parents. I was raised by my mom in the beginning and then my dad at the end. And they are friends to this day. That when you separate from somebody, you're not separating from the kids, you only separate from that person. And whether you all are friends or not, those kids are still in the middle, which means you are tied to that person forever. Doesn't matter if they grown now, I ain't got to do nothing. If something happened to that grown child, the first thing you want to do is tell the father. The first thing you want to do is tell the mother. And if you all not speaking and you don't tell him or you don't tell her, they're upset. That's a part of them too. So y'all should be friends to the day y'all die, because you still have kids together. Anything happens, you want to know what's going on with your kid. This man videotaped it because he knew what might happen when he dropped his kids off, and that's a shame. This woman, I wish I could tell y'all what video to watch. Eventually somebody will watch this video and be like, that must be what they was talking about. This woman, she let these boys terrorize this man's car, because you know how men feel about their vehicle. She knew that if she kept them boys close enough to that vehicle, they would want to touch it and play. Well, they had toys, and they were playing with the toys on the car. They don't know no better. And
that hurt me.
She let them do that because it would mess with him. Why do women do that? I'm a woman and I don't do that. I don't know if it's because I was raised by both parents and I was raised by a man at the end, where I was taught, this is how you treat people. This is how you treat a man, whether you want to be with him or not. This is how you treat people. You upset that you're not with this man anymore and you're worried about him, who he's with now. You don't have a life. Your life only revolved around this man. You need a life of your own, because even when you're married to somebody, you need a life of your own. You always have to separate to come together. She don't have no life. Her mama ain't got no life, and she ain't got no life, and she teaching them boys that they ain't gonna be nothing, because she just told their dad that he ain't nothing. You slept with this man and married this man, and you have children by this man.
Yeah. That
man is something, and if he's nothing else, he's a father to those children. One, he picks them up. I don't care what the day is. He's supposed to pick them up. He picks them up, gives them hugs and kisses, says goodbye, and you standing there acting a fool. So it's you that's the problem. Why do you think he left? You think you want to stay with that? Think you want to even think about coming back to that? He don't want to have nothing to do with you. He probably hates that he has kids by you, loves his kids, but you the problem.
That was his choice.
It was his choice to marry. He probably was trying to do the right thing. Most guys try to do the right thing. I don't care what people say. Guys try to do the right thing. It's these women who don't have nobody behind them saying, you better be quiet, let that man do what he's supposed to do. And instead they in their ear talking about, he ain't nothing no way. Well, it ain't my fault that's how you feel about men, because your daddy wasn't no good or whatever. And that's got to be where you get it from, because your father's not teaching you how to be a woman, or teaching you how a woman should be with a man. Then you'll never know.
Exactly. See, I have 3 daughters. I have 2 by DNA. I have one that I claim, I've been in her life since she was 2 years old. So that's my baby. And I have no problem with killing somebody tombstone dead, for hurting any of my babies. Now, I said that to say this. My oldest daughter is in her 20s. We can talk now. I can tell her about things and, basically hip her to the game, and let her know what men do to try to get what we want from a woman. I can only teach her to be a young lady because I'm a man. I can't teach her, I can't teach her how to be a woman because I'm not a woman. But my mother did the same thing for myself and my 2 brothers. Single parent, and she raised 3 boys, as I've said before. There are certain things that you do and don't do in a relationship, out of a relationship, when you're involved with somebody. When you first meet somebody, you always meet that new person. Mm-hmm. They nice and they cordial and they this, whatever. You don't find out who that person is until 6 months, a year. Until you really, really spend time with that person.
Everything becomes relaxed.
Everything becomes, yeah. You let your guard down, then you start exposing the true you. Not the new you. You understand? We as men have to be more selective and be more crucial in our critical thinking when it comes to, we can't run around and think with a small head all the time. See? And a lot of men get themselves caught up in that because a lot of women feel like, oh, well, you just gonna lay down with me and then run off. It takes two to tango, number
Mhm.
one. And you have to be accountable for what you do. That's really it, and that's all. You know, at the end of every video, I always say, you know, be good to each other, take care of each other.
Mhm.
You know, because we all here together. You know, in order for us to repopulate, we have to repopulate. You know, we have to make sure that we continuing to make more people, but we also have to make sure that we teach these people to treat each other right.
Mhm.
Because when there's nothing else and no one else, there's nothing else. So I'm done.
I'm done. I can't say no more than what I said.
Well, with that being said, this is DNA. Check us out, subscribe, hit us up.
Comment.
Tell us how you feel. You might be going through some things, you know. I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people out there that are going through some stuff. I mean, if you just want to, you know, vent, go ahead. You know, this is an avenue for you to do that. You know, this is just, as it's titled, DNA's opinion.
Right.
You know, so.
We done been through some things, so it ain't like we.
Yeah.
And as far as child support, I had to pay child support too.
And so have I. So,
So
you know, I understand what that's about. So, y'all, subscribe, be good to each other. We'll catch you on the next one. DNA, we signing off.